Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode number 57 of the Raedar, the episode where I'm talking about a band that I have been meaning to talk about for no exaggeration, over 4 years. I have been meaning to talk about the band Beach House for longer than for over 4 years, and they happen to be one of my favorite musical acts of all time. Before I begin even getting into them, I'm a little thrown off a little bit. I might be a bit all over the place. I am literally all over the place right now. I'm used to being right there, and now I'm here. And for some reason, that has changed my entire brain chemistry. So allow me to settle in here. Also, I'm being co-hosted here by a lava lamp. The lava lamp I'm sitting next to was my first purchase ever after working at Walmart, after getting a job, my first paycheck purchase. And one of the albums I'm reviewing today was my second. So kind of a cute moment there. I'm a little more zoomed in, a little bit more aura. You'll get it from the vibe of the music. You heard that song. That's kind of the vibe. It's going to be more relaxed, more artistic, more indie groovy vibe today. So without further ado, what is Beach House? Well, a beach house is a house by the beach, but the band Beach House is a musical act that started in 2004 in Baltimore in the United States, and it consists of Alex Scally and Victoria Legrand. Alex James is an actor. Victoria Legrand and Alex Scally. Victoria is the lead vocalist and keyboardist, and Alex plays the guitar and does backup vocals. Beach House, if you want to understand what their vibe is, if you didn't guess already from the song and from the vibe I'm literally setting here, they're a dream pop band. What dream pop is like if you know Cocteau Twins, or if you know, there's a group from Japan, I can't think of the name of, Fisherman. That's a deep cut. Fisherman from Japan. They're a dream pop band. Mazzy Star's a little dream pop. Dream pop is this idea of like lofty, beautiful, slow, dreamy pop music, and most predominantly indie. A lot of dream pop bands take inspiration from groups like The Cure or New Order or other bands like that. And Beach House is no exception. Beach House, to me, is a very, very important band because around 2019, directly after the worst breakup of my life, I decided, hey, I'm going to listen to music that sounds like I'm floating in space. I literally looked that up on Spotify, and I got a playlist that was like Songs for Mars or some corny thing like that. And Space Song was in that playlist. This is before Space Song got really, really big. And I fell in love with that song and the album cover it was from. And I fell in love with PPP and other songs by the group. And I went tumbling down this avalanche of the most beautiful music I've ever heard up to this point. Mind you, I hadn't gotten into the Beatles yet. I hadn't gotten into the Beach Boys yet. Side note, I was very, very close to bringing a jar and full of quarters and then putting a quarter in the jar for both of those mentions, but I didn't do that bit. Could be for a future episode. But I was really, really into Beach House. Beach House became one of my most listened to artists. It's a bit out of my wheelhouse, so it's a bit different. It's not a classic rock band. They started in 2004, so it's not, I guess that's 22 years ago? If I think that's pretty crazy. I should know that because I'm 1 year older than them. So, but anyway, I want to talk about 3 of their albums in particular. They have 8 albums out right now. Hopefully a 9th coming out later this year. They haven't announced anything explicitly. I have seen them live. I have to shoehorn that in. But I want to talk about a 3-album run they did from 2010 to 2015. 3 albums in particular. I'll be talking about Teen Dream, Bloom, and Depression Cherry, each with their own specific third. I figured that's a nice way to format the episode. That way I'm not just doing an artist review or an album review. I'm doing 3 album reviews. I'll be talking a little bit more about the music in particular and not so much the build up to each album's release as I did with like the Beach Boys Summer. I'm not going to be like, where are Victoria and Alex right now? That's not really that important. What I'm going at here is the music, the vibes, as it were. It's going to be very difficult not to use the word vibe. I think that's such a corny word. Like that's the name of a playlist someone would have made in 2019, which I didn't. I have no playlist called Vibes or a vibe because I think that's too corny even for me. But anyway, let's stay on track here. Can I get the album cover thrown up for Teen Dream, if possible? Okay, excellent. You can't really tell, but Teen Dream is actually it's all white without the pattern of a zebra that's in yellow. Speaking of zebra, why don't we talk about Teen Dream? Teen Dream released on, and you're not going to believe this, January 26th, 2010. That's right. Yesterday was the anniversary for the album, and that was entirely unplanned. And I will talk about Teen Dream. Teen Dream is a very interesting album. This was their biggest album to date. This was almost, I don't want to say their breakout album, because those who knew Beach House were already familiar with Beach House. But Teen Dream, I want to say, shot them into space a little bit. Let me take a sip of my water. Teen Dream was recorded at a church, if you can believe it, a studio that used to be a church called Dreamland Studios, which is a beautiful name for it. And I don't even know what to tell you about Teen Dream before jumping into it other than that. Teen Dream has 10 tracks with a total of 48 minutes and 46-second runtime. Why don't we go song by song? The album, I actually have notes here. The album opens up with the track Zebra, which is a beautiful, beautiful opener. It sounds ethereal and it sets the tone perfectly. Zebra, also Beach House has incredible lyrics. They're very visual heavy. A lot of the lyrics to Beach House aren't explicitly like, I went through a breakup and I'm sad, or I'm sad because someone I know died or something. It's a little more nuanced. The opening lyrics to this album are, you know you're gold, you don't got to worry none. Oasis child born and so wild. Don't I know you better than the rest? All deception from you. Specifically, it mentions at one point, any way you run before us, black and white horse arching among us. Really gentle, really beautiful, delicate lyrics, and loads of reverb. I went and I made notes for each of the songs I'll be talking about, so they progressively get more and more into it because I needed to warm my brain up, because that's literally all I have for Zebra, and we only have so much time. The next track is Silver Soul, which we just played you, and Silver Soul, I believe, is their second most popular song of all time, sampled by Kendrick Lamar and by Lil Peep, so if you know the song Money Trees by Kendrick Lamar, that's probably why you know the opening. I also want to make a specific mention to where Silver Soul got a particular inspiration from. This is where I'm going to specifically call out Quinn to get off her phone for a second. Oh, Quinn's rolling her eyes. Twin Peaks. Twin Peaks inspired this song. In fact, in episode 14 of Twin Peaks, where the giant warns Dale Cooper, it is happening again. That is why the song says it's happening again, because of Twin Peaks. I was so excited to tell you. Give me something. Thank you. I thought that's so neat. You just talked about it last week. But anyway, I think that's so cool. I love the way the song ends with, it is happening again, it is happening again. This entire album, although Beach House has a certain sound to them, almost kind of AC/DC in a way, not that they sound like AC/DC, but AC/DC has like one sound and they do it over and over. Each album feels very distinct, because they're all, although it's all dream pop, each one has a certain way of reflection or a certain vibe or a certain tone, I think, that is distinct to the album. And Teen Dream, as you'll soon discover, to me, you're gonna discover what's different about this album compared to the others when we get into them. But Teen Dream feels distinctly nostalgic. It feels very much, not so much like a teen dreaming, but more so of someone who is no longer a teen dreaming about the days that they were. And I think that's all over this album, and Silver Soul's a great example. When Beach House were touring, they visited Norway for this album, and they decided to record a song for this album called Norway. And Norway, I have written while they were Norway more maximalist. So while Silver Soul and Zebra were a little bit more lofty and a little bit more aloof, Norway would show the maximalist vibe that they would bring on to later albums. Now, Norway is followed up by what I think is one of the best songs they've ever written, called Walk in the Park. Walk in the Park is an early favorite of mine. A great example of a track just drenched in reverb, especially the hi-hats. There's an organ that's used on here, which again, for being recorded in a church, is very fitting. It's absolutely hypnotic. I highly recommend Walk in the Park. I will make a companion playlist to this episode that I think you'll enjoy if you like any of the songs here. That song is followed up. This is where I think I start to get a little bit more interesting in how I analyze the music. That's followed up by Used to Be. Used to Be is one of their more popular songs as well. The piano throughout this song with Victoria's voice holds your hand in a It's a Wonderful Lifestyle flashback, looking back at how you've grown. At one point, the song shoots you above the clouds for a brief moment with its bridge, coming home any day now, any day now. And the song ends with the chanting of any day now. And it's remarkable. It's beautiful. It's relaxing. It's the way I've described is the best analogy I can come up with. Like that's from my dome. I don't know if anyone else has any other interpretations of it, if they've heard it before, but that's how I take that song. That's followed up by Lover of Mine. Lover of Mine is unfortunately my least favorite on the album. There is one part in the song where Victoria sings, "In the wide open field, we know we can feel," and the way she says, "wide open field and feel," it just kind of is grating on the ears, and that is literally the only part in their discography to me that is grating on the ears. Other than that, the rest of the track is pretty good. The organ from Walk in the Park returns on Lover of Mine, and it's even better here. Better Times, it features really, really great guitar from Alex. It's a bit more minimalistic than the rest. There's some restraint on this album. It still feels like someone getting to know themselves and reflecting on where they've been to figure out where they should be going. 10 Mile Stereo is a fan favorite. If you are a Beach House fan watching this episode, odds are 10 Mile Stereo is one of your favorites. Unfortunately, it doesn't work for me as much. There's a really, really great reverberated guitar in the background that I think is super effective. But for me, other than that, that song doesn't really do very much. The penultimate track is Real Love, which is driven by piano and a thumping drum in the background. It's a bit solemn and it's extremely effective as a penultimate track. It feels somewhat content and reflective, and not really nostalgic. It feels like this person has gone on this adventure looking back at their teenagehood and thinking about who they were and who they're going to become and what they want to keep with them and what they're going to be doing in the future. And that finally concludes the album with Take Care, which, if there's something Beach House knows how to do, it's how to close an album. This dreamy, fantasy-like track closes the album with a promise. I'd take care of you if you asked me to. The trademark Beach House synthesizers work their magic with this hopeful track, a truly mystical song to end a mystical album with a delightful fade out. So the album doesn't even end with like a specific abrupt noise, it just fades out, which, could be metaphor or euphemism for youth, for teenagehood. It's not like you wake up one day and suddenly you're not a teenager. You just kind of get the vibe of it, like, oh my God, I'm an adult now, I think that basically concludes my thoughts on Teen Dream. It is my least favorite of the 3 albums I'm reviewing. Mind you, not the worst, but my least favorite. I love this album. I think the album cover is gorgeous. I think a lot of the songs are so lush and gorgeous and have a little bit of innocence to them that the other 2 albums don't, which I think really works in this album's favor. There's a lot of, it's very prom, it's very magical, very dream pop, very innocent, which I think compared to the other albums I'll be reviewing works very effectively on this album, especially as their first album of the 3. Before this, there were 2 albums they made. They made Beach House and Devotion. This is their 3rd album. So after the success of this album, they wanted to go in a little bit of a different direction. And so the themes get a little bit darker and a little bit more mature, in my opinion, in my analysis, because there isn't a lot to be said about what albums these are about or what these albums are about. In my reflection, I feel like Teen Dream, like I said, is someone on the crux of becoming an adult and reflecting on being a teen, while Bloom, which is the next album I'll be talking about, is that same person dealing with life and death in their 20s, which is a bit darker and a bit more of a mature topic. So I'm excited to talk about that after the music break. In the meantime, please don't forget that you can follow us on social media at the DCSA Media Hub. You can follow me on Instagram at AlexRAE, that's R-A-E. You can follow this show on Instagram and Twitter at the Raedar Live, also R-A-E. In the meantime, get comfortable. This is, honest to God, one of my favorite songs of all time. It's from Bloom by Beach House. Here is On the Sea live by Beach House, live from the Media Hub on the riotradio.ca.
See, we'd be forgiven. Our bodies stop, the spirit living. Wouldn't you like to know how far you've got left to go? Somebody's child. Your stone is what they gave you. In all route you go, in your silence, your soul. spite of me, heart of sight, no peace of mind. Where it begins and we're defined, shadows bend and suddenly the world becomes and swallows me.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Raedar, the episode where I'm talking about Beach House, 3 albums by Beach House. Wasn't that a perfect song? I don't know. It's hard for me to listen to that song and think of literally anything wrong with it. Like if you had to like bury me with songs, that song would be in it. I love that song so much. That's like my favorite song I've played in a while. So good. Anyway, that song, if you could tell from literally Silver Soul to that song, is I feel like a little more mature. Can we throw up the album cover, please? That song comes from Bloom. I pointed to the wrong side. Bloom by Beach House, which is Anthony Fantano's favorite Beach House album, if you know The Needle Drop. It's the critics' favorite. This album is a critical darling. A lot of people love this album. It's Quinn's favorite Beach House album, if I remember correctly. Did you say that? No, I remember saying I like Depression Cherry, and then Quinn being like, no, bro. Anyway, Bloom is incredible. Bloom, the album cover for Bloom, in case you're wondering, is not a different animal. Now it is the ceiling or the roof of the Mexican International Airport, which is very funny because you wouldn't think that when you look at it. But it's beautiful, it's minimalistic, and it's quick, and it's gorgeous. Bloom was released on May 15th, 2012. It opens with the track Myth. Myth is up there with On the Sea. You're going to discover a pattern here. This episode is really just me finally just getting to talk about what I want to talk about without any like, will people care? I don't know, but I want to talk about it. Like for Myth, Myth is a beautiful song. It is a perfect song. Myth starts with this like, almost sounds like someone hitting an anvil for a couple seconds. It's like this tung, and and then the guitar starts and the guitar has reverb on it, and Victoria's voice is always washed out by reverb, and it feels like you're floating in space. It's so beautiful, and it's so I guess kind of depressing. I won't lie. I realize that's kind of the theme of the episode is the music's kind of depressing, but there's a lot of beauty in the sound of it. Myth is one of my favorite songs of all time and was the gateway drug to the band for me. The different moments throughout the song justify their existence. It goes through all these different moments and different suites throughout the song. And there's this release moment that is just extremely cathartic. If you've heard the song, you know the moment I'm talking about. It is very difficult to like recommend you a song like this and not just describe it as dreamy. That's followed up by a track called Wild. The leading guitar takes you on another dreamy adventure, building the soundscape of what you can expect from this album, a more mature sound. So comparing to Teen Dream and its youthful, imaginative energy, this album in particular feels like a little more mature. It feels like a step up. It feels like you're dealing with grown-up topics. Not to say that there's necessarily specific themes that are covered in this album, but just the sound of it feels a little more grown up, not just with the people who made the music being more mature, and not just the listener discovering this album's maturity, but just the vibe of it. I feel like there's no other way to describe it than this album feels a little more sure of itself. It feels a little bit more like an album's album, you know? That's followed up by Lazuli, which you may be familiar with. I think it's a popular song. How many streams does Lazuli have here? Lazuli has 65 million. Myth had 215 million, by the way. So this isn't some random band. I guess technically it is, but Lazuli has 65 million listens. It was another one of the first Beach House songs I got into. It has a beautiful twinkling keyboard throughout the song. The song actually just starts with the keyboard. It starts with this like do 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 do, and then the rest of the instrumental comes in, and then Victoria's voice comes in and Alex's guitar. But that twinkling keyboard is throughout the entire track, and it almost feels like a gem glimmering in the wild, you know, in the rock, which is in the rough, which is kind of accurate because it's a lazuli, it's lapis lazuli. I remember reading Victoria talking about this song, and she mentions that the word lazuli, the song is called lazuli literally just because it feels like it should exist in the Beach House universe. Beach House has such a distinct vibe and such a certain I hate using the word vibe because it's so corny, but such a distinct energy that other groups don't have, I think. Like, I could see something on Pinterest that has nothing to do with the group and go, yeah, that definitely has a Beach House vibe, you know? Hence the setup today with the lava lamp and everything. And Lazuli is a great example of that. Other People is super melodic. It's not as depressing as the other songs on the album. It's a little bit lighter. It's a little bit of a break until the album goes right back into the ocean of energy and vibes that this album has, which does start with The Hours, which I do now understand is Quinn's favorite Beach House song. Okay, The Hours. The melody here reminds me a bit of a nursery rhyme with its simplicity, but is juxtaposed by very strong, heavy guitar tone. The Beach House lyrics are most effective when Victoria is singing At You. The Hours is a very popular one, 23 million streams. Lyrics are, violence in the flowers where they found you. Can I wait the hours? Would it be untrue? Climb up to the tower so that you can see all across the hours. Frightened eyes looking back at me. Change your mind and don't care about me. It's made in your reflection so that you could feel. Made in your intentions, fear it isn't real. All the recollections spinning in a field. Left in your possession till it isn't real. It's really magical because the lyrics, you could argue, I can understand someone not liking this group because all the songs sound the same and the lyrics are about nothing. But there's something about just laying in bed and just closing your eyes and just letting it wash over you, you know? There's really something magical about not really needing to pick apart the lyrics with a fine, what's the term? With a fine knife. It's very, very, the lyrics can be delicate. The lyrics can be vague so that you can bring your own meaning to it. My interpretation of these songs might be totally different from yours. And I think that's really, really beautiful. A lot of dream pop groups, Cocteau Twins, for example, do something similar. And Beach House were very inspired by them. After The Hours, we have Troublemaker. Sorry, I have so many tabs open. Troublemaker has the lyric, someday out of the blue it will find you. I read about someone on the Beach House subreddit that got that tattooed and was something extremely meaningful to them. They had escaped like a very awful relationship, and that lyric was a very important part to it. It's the mantra of the song. It's repeated multiple times. The song sounds impending, but also a little bit comforted in the lack of control. Again, these are just vibes and ideas that I've picked up from the song's energy. Again, the lyrics, someday out of the blue, it will find you. Like that could mean a million different things. And I think that's really the beauty of some of the lyrics on this album. Someday out of the blue, it will find you. It's looking towards the future as opposed to Teen Dream, which was looking to the past. New Year is the next track, a song that is posted every time it's the new year. It's a bit faster than most Beach House songs. It's extremely atmospheric. It reminds me of where they'll end up going on their 8th album, Once Twice Melody. It feels a bit like you're being sang to while underwater. New Year is not one of my favorite songs on the album, but it is very atmospheric, as most of their songs are. Wishes is the third last song. It has a similar shiny synthesizer to Lazuli, one of their most floating and spacey beach house songs, a guitar solo just drenched in reverb in the middle that feels outright melancholy and lost, like watching a ship leave you in the middle of the ocean. It is lost, it is scary, it is very like being lost in the middle of the ocean. Like, I mean, your heart is racing and everything, but it's like watching the crashing waves go on without you, you know, that you are just a rock in a landslide. You are just one part of the universe. The second last song is the song we played you, On the Sea, one of the greatest songs ever made in my opinion. The absolute build-up and catharsis of the release in the song. The simple piano opening, Victoria's serene vocals calling out to you. It's hardly dream pop, to be honest with you. The stomping piano pulls you into a deep synthesizer black hole in the middle of the ocean until you're met with the chorus, in the hind of sight, no peace of mind. It is, like, honestly, oh my god, On the Sea is just seriously magic in a song. I don't know how they did it, and they will do it again on the next album, but it's just really, really incredible. Somebody's child, nobody made you. It's not what you stole, it's what they gave you. In my opinion, this song is about no matter where you come from or where you're going or who you've been or who you know or what you've done, we all end up in the same place. We all end up, you know, going in the same hole, if you know what I, like, we're all gonna die, which is really the blunt way of putting it. The lyrics, in hind of sight, no peace of mind, where you begin and I'm defined. Daughter of unconscious fate, time will tell in spite of me. In hind of sight, no peace of mind, where it begins and where we're defined. Shadows bend and suddenly the world becomes and swallows me in. Whistle to a friend, gentle till the end. Any way in a name, she takes shape just the same. So we're all gonna go someday, so enjoy it while it lasts. Pretty dark, not the last song, but still really, really effective. I cannot sing that song's praises enough. The final song, you'll understand why I'm doing quotations in a minute, is the track Irene. Irene is an interesting song because if you go to Spotify and you look, or on Apple Music, and you look at the runtime for Irene, you'll notice all of the songs on this album so far, and most beach house songs, lie around 4 to 5 minutes long, pretty long songs. Irene is almost 17 minutes long. Why? Why is Irene 17 minutes long? That's too long for a song if you haven't seen my prog rock episode. Irene, the song, is not actually 16 minutes long, or 17. And I think, Alex, now you're lying to me? No. Irene, the song, is actually 6 minutes and 44 seconds, and then there's silence for 6 minutes. There is just silence on this track, in the middle of it for 6 minutes. Just no sound effects, just silence. And that's followed up by a hidden track, which is fun. People used to do that on albums. And it's interesting because if you were listening to the album, let's say you have it on vinyl, then you just place the record on the player, and Irene ends and you're like, that was beautiful, and it's still spinning. And then 6 minutes later, you get rewarded with your patience, and it's really, really, really beautiful. So Irene itself, which is the first 6 minutes of the track. If I have my notes here, where did my notes go? Irene, similar opening to Myth, which feels full circle because Myth opened the album. It sounds pretty fun pretty run of the mill until there's this like very pillow-like synthesizer, this softness you haven't had on the album at all. This is a really, really dark analogy, but if you've ever heard of when people are in like hospice and right before they go, they get this sudden burst of life, this is kind of what that moment feels like on the album to me. If the album begins with a life and ends with a death, it's just seriously, my jaw dropped when I listened to the song yesterday. Even though I've heard it a couple times before, it is seriously really magical. It's a really, really great resolve to the album. And it ends with the lyric, it's a strange paradise, over and over. It's a strange paradise, which almost seems like being content with it. But that's not the last track. Like I said, there's a hidden track, which you can find on a different album on its own, called Wherever You Go, which is a delightful hidden track. It feels almost like it's tucking you into bed, bracket, this is a good thing. Victoria's voice in mono, I have in brackets and a question mark. It's a good dying in the snow song. If you've seen the memes like that, you know what I mean. It's a good, like, just... I'll tell you what, I originally wrote Bleeding Out, but I thought, this is getting too dark. I can't put Bleeding Out. So a good dying in the snow song, that's way peachier. Anyway, that album is incredible. Bloom is phenomenal. Bloom is dark, it's mature, it's an hour long, unless you don't count the 6 minute silence. It is magical, it is all over the place in a beautiful, beautiful way. It's not messy, it's so mature. Let me find I gotta find like a quote, because I keep describing Bloom in such ways that are just, it's magical. Let me see what someone says on Rate Your Music. Hold on, folks. This is in real time. You can't have dead air. Someone says, Bloom is the first Beach House album I bought. I don't care. Let me hear what you think of the album. Bloom came in an important... Okay, let me go to Album of the Year, because all the people on Rate Your Music are like, man, where do I begin with Beach House? It's like, I don't need to know that. Let's get to the music, even though that's how I started the episode. Me and My Tears are floating in space with this one. Many believe Bloom to be the best dream pop album in 20 years. It is ethereal, progressive, far-reaching, journey-like, and peaceful. It's unheard of to have an album such as this. It's been done by few, aside from the Cocteau Twins. In The Hours, Victoria treats time like a landscape and refers to it as if a traveling area. The Hours magically subsists as a sleeper hit, the most underestimated song on Bloom. Someone's review just says, this is 46 minutes ago. This is hot off the press. Album of the Year user Desguy rated it a 93 out of 100, and the review says, in all capitals, I love dream pop, and then in lowercase, Beach House is best. Not Beach House is best, no apostrophe, Beach House is best. So, great answer. And then another one I'll review here. Art Deco Forever says, they set the standard with this one, my favorite, all capitals, E. So yeah, Bloom is loved, Bloom is fantastic, Bloom blew Teen Dream out of the water. It was a very successful album and was their most famous for a while until their follow-up, which is obviously Depression Cherry. Depression Cherry, I'll be talking about after the music break. Depression Cherry also happens to be my favorite Beach House album. Each of these albums gets more and more my favorite. Please don't forget that you can follow us on social media at the DCSA Media Hub. You can follow me on Instagram at AlexRae, that's R-A-E. You can follow the show on Instagram and Twitter at the Raedar Live, also R-A-E. In the meantime, from Depression Cherry, one of my favorite tracks from Beach House, Wildflower by Beach House, live from the Media Hub on riotradio.ca.
No better color
and gentlemen, welcome back to episode 57 of the Raedar, the episode where I'm talking about Beach House's 3 albums, Teen Dream, Bloom, and Depression Cherry. Not their only 3 albums, they have 8 albums out now, 2 before these and 3 after it. Sorry, had to do the math in my head. It's a music show, not a math show. In this segment, we're talking about Depression Cherry. Cue album cover. Ba-bam! Oh, perfect timing. Excellent. Depression Cherry. You've probably seen the album cover before. I was this close to bringing this album because I do have it on vinyl. I was also considering bringing Bloom because I do also have that on vinyl, and I don't have Teen Dream on vinyl because Teen Dream is particularly hard to find. And also, I'm lazy. But Depression Cherry was also one of the first albums I ever bought on vinyl, and what's very cool about this album when you buy it on that format, at least for a while, is the album cover is velvet, which is like, if you don't know, unheard of. I don't know another album that's done that. So that's kind of neat. There's like texture to it, as you can tell by the album cover. Depression Cherry was released on August 28th, 2015. Depression Cherry is, first of all, that name, Depression Cherry. Seriously, that's one of the main things that hooked me. There's not a thing that Beach House has ever done that's made me go, that's not really Beach Housey, but like a name like Depression Cherry with an album cover like that is just so good. That hits the spot. It's a really neat idea, really neat environment. I could only imagine what it would have been like in 2015 and find out that Beach House, the dream pop band, is releasing an album called Depression Cherry. Just incredible. Great words all around. Good job, guys. Anyway, it's not the end of our show today, but let's talk about the album Depression Cherry, because odds are you know songs on this album. The album opens with the track Levitation, a beautiful, beautiful opener. It sets the vibe of a more intimate, almost shoegazy tone for the album. It's very lush. There's a brief moment in the song, and I have been waiting. This is real. I'm gonna really look at the camera here. I have been waiting to share this anecdote to anyone for a while. There's a moment in this song that reminds me of Kahoot, and I don't know why. I don't even know if there's any Kahoot song that sounds like it, but there's a moment here where it does give me Kahoot vibes, and I don't know why. Other than that, it's a very lush, very dark kind of sounding song. If you thought the themes of Bloom were dark, Depression Cherry for me feels, I would say, more mature in its darkness. I'm realizing I'm just kind of saying words, but Depression Cherry feels a bit more emotional. Bloom, I prospected the idea of it being about life and death because of the album cover also being black and white. With Depression Cherry, it's much more emotion heavy. It's feeling the crashing waves of emotion all at once. If Bloom was about life and death, then Depression Cherry is about the feelings you feel during it. Not during death, but during life, and what makes life worth living and feeling them hard. Sparks is also, I want to mention about Levitation. I found this out on the ride here. You think I know this. Levitation ends with Irene backwards. Oh my God, I love when people do stuff like that. The last track of the last album is the opener to this one backwards. Okay, I don't know. Is there someone who's done that? Who's done some cool album techniques like that? If anyone should know, it's me. Okay, Pink Floyd. J. Cole has done it. Okay, well, I wasn't going to suggest J. Cole, but okay, J. Cole, good for you. What if I just somehow was like, what a coincidence, the next song has very J. Cole vibes? No, I don't know. Sparks is a really low-key, Joy Division-y, darker than earlier stuff type of song. Very atmospheric with more aggressive electric guitar and backup vocals soaked in trademark Beach House reverb. This album is darker and more mature, but more lush. Actually, let me explain something before I go on, because I think I'm going to use this word a lot. Shoegaze. Raise your hand in the studio if you know what shoegaze is. Okay, I think Quinn knows. She's just not raising her hand, and I don't think anyone else in the studio would. Not to toot my own horn and Quinn's horn here. Shoegaze is a genre of music that started around the late 80s, early 90s, and it's called shoegaze, G-A-Z-E, because people use these guitar pedals that they had to stand on and have to step on, and so they'd be gazing at their shoes a lot, so the guitar tone would be extended and brought out and worn out and reverbed, and it's very loud, and it's sometimes loud. It's very I don't know if you've heard of the band My Bloody Valentine. That's like quintessential shoegaze. That's so shoegaze. Or Sunbather, that album. Sometimes shoegaze can bleed a bit into metal. This is the opposite side of it. A lot of, yes, Quinn, don't give me those eyes. It can. Sunbather's a little bit of both. Also, Loveless is a heavy album. That's a little heavy, kind of metally. Anyway, Or some Deftones. Deftones is another one I feel like. Anyway, I'm more of the dream pop group than the shoegaze group, for good reason. And I prefer dream pop. Dream pop feels like the lighter, more I say lighter version of shoegaze. This album dips its toes into the shoegaze ocean, but doesn't fully commit ever, and that's totally fine. It seems a little more experimental. That being said, After Sparks is their, I'm not going to beat around the bush, their most popular song, their only song with 1 billion streams, 1,573,000,000. It's Space Song. Now, this is a part where I get to rant a little bit. I have a lot of time. Actually, no, I don't. I have like 10 minutes. Let me drink water. I'm going to rant. And I know you're thinking you're going to rant about how popular the song is. No, I'm ranting about the opposite. I think it's great. I love how popular the song is. I am so anti-TikTokify. The amount of TikToks I see where people are commenting, don't TikTokify this song. Oh, if TikTok gets to it. Grow up, okay? Let people enjoy things, okay? It's a song. It's Space Song by Beach House. If you tell me you discovered it through Wednesday, I'm okay with that. That's awesome. Welcome to the club. The more the merrier. The door's open. Come on in. No gatekeeping here. Space Song never gets old. Space Song was the first Beach House song I get into. So if you ever discover it through that song, that makes sense. It's the most popular for a reason. It never gets old. I still listen to Space Song and I'm still blown away. It is so magical to me. It came to me at a very, very important, building part of my life, integral part of my life, and it still means the world to me. I think Space Song is just always going to be a part of my life. The synthesizers are dreamy. I love the synthesizer, like the little bleeps and bloops of it. I love how it sounds like space. Even my mom loves this song, and she might be watching right now, so shout out to my mom. That's followed up by Beyond Love. The shrieking electric guitar that the song gives you right out the gate emerges from the synthesizer ocean that the song brings you into. The keyboards and Victoria's voice compete for your attention. That is until her voice raises and fills the bridge, which brings you into her world and the visuals she provides you with words describing what could possibly be beyond love. So this album and this song by extension is almost a thesis statement because it's a little bit more about the feelings that you feel that wash over you so gradually, I suppose. You know, it's so easy to suddenly stub your toe and feel sharp pain, but there's something about mourning or yearning or loving that if it's real and it's meaningful, it washes over you. It doesn't take you by surprise instantly, in my opinion, or at least that's how this album feels. 10:37 is the next track. If the show was 10 to 11, I think I would have timed it to see if I can get to this track at that time, but alas. 10:37, this track holds more restraint and holds back on giving you the vibe you're used to. That is, until the synthesizers finally meet you, followed by the lush guitar tones. Put these all together with Victoria's Laws, and this song doesn't pull you into outer space, but instead pulls the outer space out of you, which I think is a great way of putting it, because I wrote it. But also, it's a beautiful, beautiful song. It has a lot more restraint than the other songs on the album, and it toys with what your expectations are with the album. That's followed up by PPP, which PPP, oh my God. Now you're thinking, what does PPP stand for? That is a great question. This song is extremely effective. It's maybe one of the greatest songs of all time. I love this song to death. I've said that about 3 or 4 songs, and I mean it every time. PPP is incredible. What a track. It is. I'll read what I have. One of the greatest songs maybe ever. The lyrics about doing figure eights and ice skates is complemented by a 6/8 time signature that sounds like the song itself is skating with you. It literally sounds like it's doing this, and it's incredible. Some say that Space Song gives the vibe or feels like it's a breakup. Well, PPP sounds like falling in love. It's not all at once. It slowly seeps its way into you and has you up to your chin in hypnotizing guitar riff and an ocean of reverb. Victoria's voice guides you through this unnatural feeling of genuine content affection, not infatuation, not necessarily imagining the rest of your life with a person, but wanting nothing more than to spend the moment with them right now and for that moment to last forever. The song ends with Victoria surrendering any real words and simply vocalizing because there aren't any words for that feeling. Literally, what a great song. Please listen to PPP. I was this close to literally suggesting, hey, can we end with this song instead of Space Song? Spoilers. But then I forgot. So, great song. There's your homework. Check out PPP. The song. The third last song, Wildflower, we already played you. It throws you into synth heaven immediately as you're met head on with a wall of it, just a wall of sound. This one is dark like the rest, and the vocal from Victoria feels tragic, but there's also a hint of hope in her voice. Also, the synthesizers that are so often used the synthesizers which are so often used to sound unhuman in a song or give an unhuman element is used to feel distinctly human in this song, which just goes to show Beach House's skills. Bluebird is the second last song. I don't have a lot to say about Bluebird. It feels a bit like the depression right before the acceptance, a song that feels like it could go on forever, which is brought along with this almost metallic percussion. My least favorite on the album, but it's still very strong. The album and the episode end here with Days of Candy. Days of Candy is insane. Days of Candy, I said it before and I'll say it again, if there's anything Beach House knows, it's how to close an album. This song feels like the reiteration of the thesis of the album's building to. The song is lush to say the least, desperate and dark. One of my all-time favorites, like a funeral from the future for someone who passed way too soon. The epitome of the dark symphonics of the album. The synthesizers halfway through keep it from being overwhelming in its depression and make sure to keep things cherry. It ends with the lyric, "The universe is riding off with you." Magic, just pure musical magic. Incredible. Depression Cherry is my favorite. Please listen to the album. Please listen to Days of Candy. Listen to PPP. And maybe revisit Space Song and Levitation and Wildflower. Just listen to all three of these albums. They're all incredible. That's the end of our show today. I look forward to seeing you back here next week. You're also homework. Check out Once Twice Melody. That's also a really strong album. I look forward to seeing you back here next week. Please don't forget that you can follow us on social media at the DCSA Media Hub. You can follow me on Instagram at AlexRA, that's RAE. You can follow this show on Instagram and Twitter at the Raedar Live, also RAE. In the meantime, here is Space Song, the song you know, by Beach House from their 2015 album Depression Cherry, playing us out live from the Media Hub on riotradio.ca.